G'day everybody. How's everybody doing? Welcome to Lorez Studio. I'm real excited to start this project, so I'll get straight to it. You know, I tend to talk a lot, so I'm trying to speed things up. So what I have here is, this is just an old box. I actually found this on the side of the road many years ago. I actually went in and knocked on the door and asked the person if I could take it because I thought it was a useful thing, and he looked at me funny and says, take the bloody thing. So I did. Not very heavy, but it's timber. It's quite sort of thin, but I thought, what am I going to do with it? I just wanted to show you what I want to do with it. Okay, so it's going to be a big project, and I'm going to start working on the sides. So I will be doing all sides except for that one, because I think it's going to be, I actually might do that side as well, because I might decide to use it as a coffee table or something like that. So yeah, do all the sides. So I'm going to do a continuous beach scene around the edges. That's the plan, so I hope it works. And on the top I was going to do like a big splashing wave, and then I thought it might be just a bit too much beach. So I just come across all these cut out little bits and pieces. I'll bring you closer so you can have a better look. Yeah, so I was just gonna try to strategically kind of place them. So this is it. I don't want to keep talking. I want to start my project. I started unscrewing these because originally I was just going to do the top, so I was going to leave the screws there and just pour resin over it and then screw them back in when the resin starts to set, and then that would really seal it in. But then I decided to do the sides, you know, so I will take this off. And another thing is, if further down the track, you know, when I'm long gone, one of my kids might want this kind of collage with a lot of my work pieces on there, they can easily just unscrew this and take this off and hang it on the wall as a piece of art. So anyway, that's the idea. So fingers crossed. Okay, so here we are. I've mixed some colors, just some acrylic paints, and I'll tell you in a second what I have here while I put my gloves on, because I'm going to paint the design first, just roughly, and then that'll give me an indication of where to put my colors with resin. So this is the ultramarine blue, already mixed just with water. I'm not doing any cells or anything like that. This one here, because I only have the basic colors, was just a green, like a forest green or something like that. Added a little bit of this color in with it, and a little bit of magenta, just to give it this gorgeous deep teal kind of. This was just like a turquoise blue, but it was a very pale blue, which I made even paler, because once that dries it'll dry darker. So I've put a little bit of white in there with it. I've obviously got titanium white here. I've got a little bit of gold, and you can see the type of gold it is, just there, sort of blobbed there, dripped there, with a bit of white, and I made it like a sandy color. And I've got a magenta tint. It's very transparent, as you can see, which you'll see what I'll do with that. Over here I've got a green, which was, hang on, I'll write it down because I forget. Okay, so I've got some of this blue, a little bit of yellow, just like a bright yellow, and a touch of this teal in with it, and I got this color, which is going to be part of the waves. So anyway, I'm going to start. I've got some brushes ready and a bucket with water. I just need some paper towels or a cloth. Give me a second, go get it. Okay, what you can see here is I started playing with an idea, which kind of worked, but it was just too much work for me, so I decided to go against it. The top part here, this is just a tint mixed with some water just to give me that sort of stain. And over here, believe it or not, this is epoxy pigment. And so that was interesting. That was just epoxy paste with just a wet brush, and the brush was dipped in alcohol, like 99% alcohol, and then I kind of really rubbed it into this wood. And it is working on this because it's quite porous and it's soaked in all that epoxy. So interesting project. I don't think it'll work on a smooth surface, you know, but anyway, it's just something that I tried. Okay, let's go with a bit of a sky first. So I'm just going to pour some of this over the top. Not concerned about these, they're going to stay there, and once I pour resin over it, it's going to be all hidden. Okay, so I started with this a pour idea. So I've got this paint is mixed quite loose, just with water, you know, the idea was to spread it around and let it dry and let it drip down the sides, and kind of pull it down the sides with my hands. You will see that in a second. Now, but then I changed my mind because I realized it was just going to be too long. It's going to take too long to get it all dried up, and I decided to, further down the track, just use a brush and just paint, you know, the old-fashioned way. Just paint the colors onto this timber board, or the box rather, all around it, just creating a little bit of a horizon there, just with my hands. And I can see here that, oh my goodness, it's way too thick. It's going to take forever to dry. And that magenta down there worked out a little bit, but I decided to go against it until my paint dries up, and then I will add that magenta afterwards, because it just kind of disappears in with the color because it's so thin. So yeah, pretty much that's where I'm at now, and continue watching to see what I do next. Oh, look at those colors, isn't that nice? So I've decided to go around and paint all the sides properly, like the traditional way. It would normally be the case of painting a seascape. Oh. So that's just what I'm going to do, really roughly. It's going to, I mean, it was a noble idea to do a pour and wait for it to soak into the wood and all that sort of stuff, but it's going to take too long. So I'm just going to go around with the same colour and just paint all the sides and be done with it. Alrighty, so this is 4 times the speed of the original recording, because, you know, you can see what I'm doing here, just adding those colours and using the brush this time to, you know, apply colour, and using my fingers there to just add a little bit of a lighter colour and create a bit of a bond there where those colours meet. Some of that lovely turquoise, which is absolutely gorgeous, and some of that really nice pale green mixed up. And I will encourage you to mix your colors. It's really fun. You can get unique shades. Just do it. Okay, I'm not going to put the white on there. So now just a soft, clean, dry brush, just to kind of pull this out a little bit, soften these colors and blend them together a little bit. Not that it matters because it's going to be all covered up, but it does help me because I'm a very visual person and I need to see kind of what it looks like to be able to imagine where to put stuff, you know. that already looks nicer when softened like that. This is my nice good brush, so I want to make sure that I clean it and dry it properly. Okay, that's that done. Hello again, I'm back 2 days later. I've added another coat of paint to this, and added a little bit of detail as well. These are the colors that I'm going to be using, already mixed and ready to go. I'm showing you that I'm using my Eco Art cup, which is great for using in your resin, and I will post a little link to where you can buy these from. I do recommend them, they're great. So here's my piece. This is going to be the back side, so if it goes against the wall, this is the side that's going to be kind of hidden. But if it's used as a coffee table, then it all depends on how well I go with it, but I wanted to test it, to do this first on the back side, and see how it goes. So I started first with my sky, and maybe you can notice there that as I'm dragging that pigment, which is blue ice, powder pigment, that the resin has already started to set a little bit. So I'm really hurrying this up now, because I've kept my mixed resin in my cup for far too long while I was fiddling around with what colors to use, and it was fairly warm in the studio, not hot, but it was fairly warm. So yeah, these resin is not going to wait for you, so you gotta get to it. And I'm showing you there the sand color, which I forgot to mix, so that's coming in as well. I will add all the colors that I'm using in the description below the video, so that you can have a look if you're interested. And just pouring that sand color at the bottom there. So I'm not going traditionally the sand sort of second last and then the white in the end. I am focusing more on putting the colors that I don't want to move down first, which was my sky and the sand, and just using the stirring stick just to push that sand color into the edges and the corners. I have taped the box around twice, just to give it extra strength, because this is just a masking tape, and the second one that I put around is just a painter's tape, but they both can leak, so, and they both are pretty soft, so I wanted to make sure with all this resin that it doesn't overflow, and push that tape away from my board a little bit, and make a make me create extra work for me later on, because I'd have to sand it back and make it flat again, straight again. So that's why I went around with the tape, just to make sure that it's nice and tight, and it worked, because when I took the tape off later on, while the resin was still fairly soft, I took it off, so it just allows that resin to kind of relax down a bit, and you don't get that sharp edge when it's all set. So the next color I'm putting down is the Apatite Blue. This is a metallic. They are all metallic except for the sand color and the angel white. Apatite Blue is a really pretty color. This colour here, I just decided at the spare of the moment to use it just to create a bit of a difference there between all the ocean colours and the sun, the imaginary sun shining through that wave as it's crashing over. So that is the olive gold powder pigment. It's a mica, so it's a nice shimmery pigment, and I was quite amazed as to how many effects I got out of this. In the end, I didn't really look for effects, but it turned out really, really well, because when you're mixing your pigment pastes and the pigment powders in a piece together, you will get effects. You just can't not have effects. They just seem to react to each other. And the color that I am putting down now is the Peacock green powder pigment as well, all the res of course, and just putting it through that shallow water as well as going through the deeper water as well, and closer to my crashing wave. It looks kind of cool at the moment. It will change when I add the white, of course, but overall very, very happy. Just in a real hurry now because the resin is setting and it's not waiting for me at all. That horizon line, I am adding more of that sky blue, which is the ice blue powder pigment, and just pulling that line so I get a nice line there, and trying to frantically get all these colors nice and flat, and not wreck this painting, because it just all of a sudden hit me thinking, oh my god, this is really, really setting fast on me, and I need to really get cracking. So that's what I'm doing, just really pulling that pigment back and forth, and each time I do that I get a trillion cells, so it's quite nice to see. And it's nice to have a metallic ocean painting. I usually don't do that, but I think I will from now on. It just really look lovely. It just looks kind of more real to me. So I started off with the attachment on my heat gun here, and I regretted it straight away because I wasn't getting enough of the air coming through there. It just wasn't working, and it was just really overheating my resin and speeding up that the setting process, which is not what I wanted to happen. But like I said, it's not going to wait for me, so I ended up getting just a piece of wood that I had laying around and just kind of knocked that attachment off because it was red hot, of course. Don't go touching that after just being used. So now I'm getting better results with my heat gun. So because the resin is already setting quite rapidly, I am trying very hard to do faster kind of movements with applying this white, because it's not coming out, it's quite thick at this stage, and it's not coming out nice and, you know, in a nice stream. So it's kind of like when you're pouring honey and it overlaps. So that's what was happening. So I had to do that real fast, kind of a whoosh line down the bottom there, and adding some more white to my sky because it was looking a little bit too blue there, and I wanted to add some clouds. And just playing around now with that white, and it's really hard to move that resin at this stage as it's quite thick, and trying not to overheat it too much and burning, which I did manage to do in one area there, but I will fix that easily without a problem. But this is just what happens, you know. It's a fairly large piece, and it's you know, time is of the essence, as they say when you're working with resin, and no matter what resin you use. The temperature wasn't right. It was, you know, warmer than it should have been in here, and all of these things take effect, you know. But overall, very happy with what I've done with this piece, and I don't think I'm going to put it against the wall. So I will have another 3 sides to do. So I will wait a day before I start on the other side, and by the time I do that side, it'll be a couple of days actually, and I will probably wait a few days before I can flip this piece on itself to be able to do the opposite side. Yeah, but at this stage, just struggling a little bit to fix some of the areas that I've missed. The sand's looking really great. The white is looking very, very good as well, and just fiddling, just going back and forth now with the heat gun. I spend a lot of time heating this up, just trying to help it to move a bit. So there goes that olive gold, which is a really, really pretty colour. I should use it more often. It's just really gorgeous because it's got that the gold kind of going through it. And I thought I wasn't going to use it up there above the wave, but I had some left over, and it was still decent enough. Like, it wasn't thick like the other pigments, probably because I had less of it in a cup. So the more resin you have in your cup, the quicker it'll set. So this one only had a tiny little bit in it, maybe about 20 milliliters, and it was still very workable. So I thought I'll use it up, you know, it won't matter. And it actually added to the overall piece, which I was very pleased with. So probably I will add some embellishments to this. Probably put a couple of birds in the sky or do something. I definitely need to fix the bit of the wave that I burnt, which was right there. But you can't see it now. You might see it smoking in a second. But it just kind of bubbles up. That's what happens. It bubbles up and it cooks. It's not pleasant, that's for sure, because you're thinking, oh no, are you kidding me? So we'll see what happens anyway. It still looks good. Well, to me it does anyway. I'm quite pleased with it. Anything that's oceany and with these colours, the peacock colours, the greens, the blues, it's nice. So that's it. That's the part that I've stuffed up with a heat gun. overheated it and cooked it. So that's the part that I'm going to have to fix. But overall, that's it. It's done. And please let me know what you think about this piece. And stay tuned for the next one, because there will be another 1, 2, 3 videos. That's the sides, and then the top will be another one. So there'll be 4 more videos. So if you're new to the channel, please click that subscribe and hit that bell so that you can see when the new videos come up, because you will be notified. Read the description. I've got information in there about the stockers everywhere, and pretty much what I've used and all that sort of jazz. But that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching.